step forward. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear firm testimony you're about to give this man the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, self you God. I need you to sit in that black chair, and I want you to turn toward the judges of the facts. Sit back like you're at the movies. I want you to be very comfortable. Now turn your seat toward the judges of the facts.
Oh, towards the jury.
Thank you so very much. State your name for the record.
Cynthia Diaz.
Could you pull the microphone a little closer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you may proceed.
Ma'am, tell us your name for the record one more time.
Cynthia Diaz.
And ma'am, are you related or were you related to somebody by the name of Gabrielle Barrett?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you related to Gabrielle Barrett?
She's my granddaughter.
And Gabrielle was how old on January 1st of 2018?
4.
Do you remember her date of birth?
7/3/2013.
Did Gabrielle have a middle name?
Yes, ma'am. It was Renee.
Can you spell her middle name?
Renea.
And did she have a name that she was normally called by the family?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that?
Gabby.
And who was Gabby's mother?
My daughter Candace.
And who was Gabby's father, please?
Kyle Barrett.
Were you around when Gabby was first born?
Yes, ma'am.
And when she went home from the hospital, who did she go home with and where did she go to?
She went home with Candace and Kyle to my house.
And did Gabby continue to live at your home with Candace and Kyle for some period of time?
Yes, ma'am.
About how long did the three of you live together with Gabby?
Gabby was approximately between 3 and 4 months old.
3 or 4 months old when what happened, ma'am?
Kyle left.
And did Candace remain at your residence at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
What about Gabby?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there other adults living there then too?
Yes, ma'am.
Who were they?
My roommate Carol Macier.
Do you happen to know how to spell her last name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you tell us?
Yes, ma'am. Maciag.
Okay. And was that it?
At the time, yes, ma'am.
Did that arrangement continue for a period of time? With Gabby living there with her mother Candace and you and your roommate?
What do you mean by arrangements?
Well, was that the living situation?
Yes, ma'am.
About how long did that continue?
Until Candace met Brad.
And ma'am, can you tell us approximately how old it would have been, that Gabby would have been when Candace met Brad? About how old the
Probably 18 months old.
Around 18 months old. And what changed when she was about 18 months old and Candace met Brad?
Gabby still lived with me.
And where did Candace live?
Oh, she was living with me, but she would be back and forth with Brad.
And this person you're calling Brad, do you see him present in court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is he?
He's sitting right there.
And what's he wearing?
I believe it's a suit, color of black.
Identifying for the record the defendant, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
So she went back and forth between Brad and your place.
Yes, ma'am.
At that time, did Gabby, as an 18-month-old or so, did she go back and forth or did she stay with you?
She stayed with me.
And did there come a time when Candace spent the majority or most of her time with Brad?
Yes.
About how old was Gabby when that happened?
After she turned 2.
About 2 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
But Gabby still stayed with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And Candace was living with Brad somewhere, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know where they were living?
I don't know the name of the mobile home, but there was 2 mobile homes before the final one.
Okay. And so they lived in a variety of mobile homes. Were they located in the same mobile home park or different ones?
3 different ones.
And what city was the final mobile home that they lived in, do you know?
Belleville.
Do you know the name, do you remember the name of the road?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
Rawsonville Road.
Okay. Now, how long did Gabby stay with you and live separately from her mother while her mother lived with Brad?
Until I took her home September of 2017 for school.
Was it right when school would have started in September or sometime?
Yes, ma'am. She started preschool then.
And was there a reason that she went to live with her mother and Brad at that point?
They wouldn't allow her to live with me because I didn't have legal custody of her to go to school.
Had Gabby ever spent a night prior to September of 2017 in the trailer with her mother and Brad?
Yes, ma'am.
How often would she spend the night over there?
Whenever we came down from Flint, she would spend the night with her.
Okay, so would that be more than once a week, once a month?
It was like twice a month.
Would she ever spend more than one night there?
Not until September, no ma'am.
So during her entire lifetime, up until September of 2017, from age 2 on, she hadn't really spent more than one night with her mother. Is that right?
Before September?
Right.
No, she stayed other nights, but I mean...
More than one night in a row.
No, ma'am.
Am I correct that she hadn't spent more than one night in a row for about 2 years when she returned to that, to live full-time there?
Well, she didn't spend the night with Candace, but Candace would come to my house and stay the night with her.
Okay, so she would...
Let me interrupt you. When we say she or her, can we just use the names instead?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Did Gabby spend more than one night with her mother anywhere between the age of 2 and when you took her back?
Yes, ma'am.
How many nights in a row had she spent with her mother?
I couldn't tell you.
Did she ever spend a whole week with her mother between ages 2 and when she was returned?
Yes, she has.
Did she ever spend a whole week in the trailer with Brad Fields up before September 2017?
To my knowledge, no.
Well, would you know?
Well, you're talking 2 years ago. I'm sorry.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
All right. Ma'am, in September of 2017, when you took Gabby to live over with her mother and left her with her mother and Brad Fields, was there anybody else living there too?
No.
What about Zoe?
Oh, Zoe, I'm sorry.
Who's Zoe?
Zoe's my other granddaughter, Gabby's sister.
And who was Zoe's father?
Brad.
And how old was Zoe back in September of 2017, if you remember?
She was born in December. She wasn't a year, so she was 10 months old.
Thank you. When you took her there, Gabby was 4 years old, correct?
Yes,
4.5 years old, actually. Is that right?
Yes.
And was she, in your view, an average 4.5-year-old?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she able to walk,
Yes.
run,
Yes.
play?
Yes.
Was she happy?
Yes, she was.
Was she toilet trained?
Yes, she was.
Was she prone to accidents?
Absolutely.
How often would she have an accident?
I couldn't give you a schedule of it because they're accidents.
Okay. So was it every day?
Not every day, no, ma'am.
Did she sleep through the night without accidents?
Sometimes, yes.
Well, let me ask you a question. What leads you, you made a conclusion, you said she was toilet trained.
Yes, ma'am.
So, did she make an accident every 15 minutes that you had to put a little diaper on her? Or was she able to wear panties?
She wore panties.
Okay,
She was out of diapers at 18 months old.
okay, very good. And so she was wearing panties from the time she was 18 months
Yes, ma'am.
until 4.
Approximately, yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
After Gabby went to live with her mother in Bradfield, did you visit?
Yes.
How often would you visit?
I would try to get up there at least 3 times a week.
And how did that work out?
Sometimes I could go, sometimes I wasn't allowed to go up.
And when you weren't allowed to go, would there be a reason you weren't allowed to go?
Cause of speculation, but let me ask this question. When you say you weren't allowed to go, who did you have to seek permission from?
My Candace told me that I wasn't allowed to be up there, but it wasn't her decision.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna object to that. That's hearsay.
Was there someone that you had to get permission from to visit your granddaughter? Is that yes or no?
No.
Okay, so you just go up there anytime, say, we're in the neighborhood, let's just go by there and just walk
I would
around?
call and say I'm on my way.
Okay. And when you say permission, what do you mean?
Unfortunately,
Listen to my question.
I'm
What do you
sorry.
mean by permission?
somebody to say that I can go up and visit.
So you couldn't just say, oh, we're in the neighborhood, just pull up, let's
No,
just go
ma'am.
in the house? You could not do that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And the permission that you had to get, who did you have to get the permission from? Your daughter or Brad, or neither of them?
The only thing I can tell you,
Which one did you have to get permission from? Do you understand?
oh, yes, ma'am,
I have to
Brad.
give juror number
Yes,
one
ma'am.
permission to leave the building now. He gave his bill, I'm gonna go home downstairs. You
Yes,
can't
ma'am.
do that. So when you say permission, what do you mean?
I wasn't allowed to go up there because of Brad.
Okay, very good.
Ma'am, did you have any concerns about Gabby's development?
No.
Did you ever say that maybe she was autistic?
I mentioned to a doctor at a doctor's appointment that I wanted her checked for it.
And what caused that concern?
I know this is going to sound dumb, but I was watching a commercial. They were talking about autism, and Gabby fit the bill, so I asked the doctor to have her checked.
Can you tell me what about that commercial caused you to think Gabby fit the bill?
Because it showed the little boy totally ignoring his parents when they were trying to talk to him.
And did Gabby totally ignore you when you tried to talk to her?
There were times she did that, yes.
There was occasions.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
But could she communicate with you?
Absolutely.
Did she enjoy playing?
Oh, yes.
Did she look you in the eyes and talk with you?
Yes.
Did she hug you?
Yes.
Was she affectionate?
Absolutely.
Did she enjoy books?
Oh, yes.
Did she ever color?
Yes.
How did she like that?
She colored more with Candace than she did me, but she loved it.
So your major concern was sometimes she didn't pay attention when somebody talked to her?
Yes.
Was that your only concern?
No, she would have fits.
And what kind of fits?
Just out of the blue, she'd come over, start kicking, hitting, and biting me.
Would that qualify as temper tantrums?
I'm not a professional at that, so I couldn't tell you.
And how often would she have something that you describe as a fit?
Not often, but because you would never know when it would happen.
Okay, so not often. Is that what you're...
Objection, I believe that
Sustain,
mischaracterized.
let's just move on.
Ma'am, during November of 2017, did you have occasion to see Gabby?
Yes,
When did you see her?
the week of Thanksgiving, I had her the whole week.
And what was her condition at that point?
Fine.
Did you notice anything about what her weight?
No,
Did you notice anything about her hair?
no,
Her hair was fine?
yes,
What about her mouth and teeth?
they were fine.
How was her behavior that week?
It was great.
Was she toilet trained that week?
Yes,
Were there accidents that week?
no,
So she was away for a week in November, the week of Thanksgiving with you, is that right?
yes,
And you saw nothing that would cause you to be concerned, especially about Gabby at that point, is that right?
yes.
When's the next time you saw her after that?
Christmas Day,
Do you remember if it was Christmas Day or Christmas Eve?
Christmas Day.
That's the best of your recollection?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what did you notice about her that day?
That she was happy because I was there so we could open up presents.
What, did you see anything physical about her?
No,
No problems. That, even then, is that your testimony?
yes, ma'am.
What about her hair?
It was fine.
Did you notice anything in it?
No, I know she had lice, but you can't see lice from where I'm sitting to where you are.
I see. And was she just her same happy self?
Yes, she was.
Let me ask this, how long did you know at that time that she had lice?
Since June, we had been having a problem with it. I put the medication on it. We finally got rid of it.
And when you say you got rid of it, what led you to that conclusion?
We couldn't see anything.
And when was that done?
That was in June.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then she got them again.
When would you say approximately?
The middle of September, I believe.
Okay, go ahead, Counselor.
How long did you stay on Christmas Day?
2 hours.
Had you seen her? So you had not seen her between Thanksgiving week and Christmas Day. You stayed 2 hours, is that right?
That's right.
Why'd you stay such a short period of time?
Because they were, I'm sorry,
Baby, I'm sorry.
Brad and Candace were going to his aunt's house for Christmas dinner.
So that was all the time you were allotted?
No, that's the time I stayed. I wasn't allotted anything on that day.
All right. So, and those 2 hours would have been the only 2 hours in the whole prior month, is that right? Or time between Thanksgiving and
Objection,
Christmas?
that's a leading question.
Sustain rephrase.
In that, were those the only time you saw that child?
Other than on FaceTime, yes.
After Christmas Day, did you speak with Gabby?
Yes, I
Gabby?
did.
Excuse me, Gabby.
Yes, I did.
When?
I couldn't tell you the day, but I called her all the time.
Did you speak with her on New Year's Eve?
Yes, I did.
How was things then, as far as you could tell?
Fine.
Everything seemed fine to you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, did you receive a call from someone on New Year's Day?
Yes, I did.
And who called you on New Year's Day?
My daughter Candace.
And did you recognize her phone number?
I recognized her name.
All right. It was in your, it was a phone that, she called from a phone that was in her name, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And when she called you, can you describe her demeanor?
The only thing I can tell you is she was crying, and she said Gabby wasn't responding, and all I know is I said I'm on my way.
Okay. She said Gabby wasn't responding, is that what she said?
Yes, ma'am.
And how far at that point, when you received that phone call, were you from the trailer where Gabby lived?
Took me 30 minutes. I was in Westland.
And about what time of the day or night did you receive that call?
I received the call between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, quarter to 10, I'm not sure exactly, in the morning.
And you say that it took you about a half an hour to arrive.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you asked to call anybody else at that time?
No, ma'am.
Did you hear anybody else in the background during that call?
No, ma'am.
How long, well, did you arrived within a half an hour, or in a half an hour or so, is that right?
Yes.
About 30 minutes later, is that right?
Yes.
And what, did you walk into the trailer?
No.
What happened?
Candace met me at the door and opened it, and then we went back to the bathroom.
And when you went back to the bathroom, what did you observe?
My granddaughter on the floor.
Did you observe any other adult?
Yes, Brad was in there giving her CPR.
And your granddaughter was laying on the floor of the bathroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she appear to, what was Brad doing exactly?
He was giving her
Well,
CPR.
tell us what you saw him doing. You can demonstrate if you want.
He was
kneeling?
giving her compressions at the time I walked in.
All right. So was he kneeling?
Yes.
And he was giving her compressions, pushing on her chest,
Yes.
and that was going on in the bathroom.
Yes.
Was Gabby responding?
Not that I could tell.
Was there, did you see her coloring?
The coloring looked normal to me.
Did.
The color of her what, skin?
Yes, ma'am.
How long did the compressions from Brad go on in the bathroom?
Until I took over.
How long before you took over?
Probably 2-3 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes later, you took over?
Yes, ma'am. I had trouble with my knee, so it took me a bit to get on the floor.
I get it. Did you instruct anybody to make any other phone calls?
Yes, I told Candace to call 911.
Do you know if Brad also had a phone there?
I don't believe so.
Did
In
you
the bathroom, you mean?
had a phone at the trailer?
Oh, I'm sure he did, yes.
Objections, that's speculation.
That's fine. Did you see his phone?
No,
Did you see him make any phone calls that morning?
no.
But you instructed your daughter to call 911,
Yes,
and did she follow those instructions to the best of your knowledge?
yes.
And what happened next?
She hands me the phone, and the lady tells me 2 breaths, 30 compressions. And I said, thank you, I've done this before, and Candace took the phone back.
Now, are you a medical person of any kind?
No, ma'am.
At any of the point that you were doing CPR, did your granddaughter respond?
No.
Did her color still look just right to you?
It looked the same as when I came in.
Which is what?
Normal to me.
And what about, was she clothed?
No, she had a towel wrapped across her waist.
So you remained in the bathroom, is that right, for a while?
I remained in the bathroom till the police took over the CPR.
Did you notice any water in that bathroom at all?
No.
No, you did not notice?
No, there was no water in the bathroom.
There was no water in the bathroom at all. Is that
Not
correct?
on the floor, not in the tub, no ma'am.
And was Gabby wet at all?
No,
Was your daughter wet at all?
no.
Was Brad wet at all?
To my knowledge, no.
When, the police arrived about how long later?
After the phone call, they were there within 5 to 10 minutes.
What did they do?
They took over CPR
Did they leave her in the bathroom?
for a few minutes, and then they took her to the living room where there was more room.
When Gabby was in the bathroom with you, did you vomit at all?
No.
Did you see vomit?
Yes, I got some on me.
When the police took, but you're saying that you didn't see anything wrong with Gabby. In terms of-
I don't believe that.
Is it,
That Miss
Say,
Karen-
Wow.
let's move on, let's rephrase, please.
did you see anything wrong with her skin or physically wrong with her in the bathroom?
All I saw was red marks behind her calf on each leg and on her backside where her butt is
And when did you notice that?
when I took over CPR.
Was she laying on her stomach or her back?
She was on her back.
How did you see red marks on her behind and so on?
And you could tell looking that there was red marks. They came to the front towards the front of her stomach.
And were you able to identify what those red marks appear to be caused from?
That causes speculation.
Well, were you able to identify what they look like?
Just what I told you. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what had happened.
Did anybody tell you what had happened?
I was told
That would
later.
be hearsay.
Sustain.
No,
Sustain without a better foundation, sustain.
did the defendant tell you what had happened?
No,
Did your daughter tell you what had happened?
no,
Did you ask?
no.
Were you able to tell what those red marks looked like?
The only thing I can tell you is on the legs, it was like there was a little bit of the skin, like when you get a blister. And on the back, it was a little redder, but other than that, that's all I could tell you.
After the police did CPR, how long do you think they tried CPR on Gabby?
I couldn't tell you. The ambulance had arrived and they were still doing it, and the ambulance arrived about 10-15 minutes after the police did, so I'm going to,
Don't guess. If you don't know, just say you don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, very good.
And when the ambulance arrived, during the time that that Gabby, your granddaughter, was in the living room with the police, was there ever any response of any kind that you saw?
No,
Any response from Gabby?
not that I could tell.
And when the ambulance arrived, what happened then?
They decided to take her into the ambulance and work on her out there.
And did you go out to the ambulance too, or what did you do?
Candace went out to the ambulance and so did I.
What about Brad?
He stayed in the house with the police officer.
Was Gabby ultimately transported
Yes,
to where?
St. Joseph's in Ann Arbor.
How did you get there?
I drove
Alone or with someone else?
alone.
Did your daughter go there?
Yes, ma'am.
How'd she get there?
She went with the ambulance.
Did you meet up with your daughter there?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever see Brad Fields arrive at the hospital?
And no, no, ma'am.
About how long were you there with your daughter before you were told something regarding Gabby?
2 to 2.5 hours
And what were you told regarding Gabby?
that she had passed away.
Did you ever see Brad Fields again at the hospital, or did you ever see him at the hospital?
Yes, him and his aunt arrived.
Was that before or after Gabby had been pronounced dead?
After,
How long did you remain at the hospital? You need a break? How long did you remain at the hospital?
we were there 2.5 hours.
Did you leave right away after she was pronounced?
No, after they pronounced her, I went and saw her. And then I left.
You left alone?
Yes,
Did you see your daughter leave?
yes.
And who did your daughter leave with?
Candace left with Brad and his aunt.
And so you went to your own vehicle and Brad and Candace left together, is that right?
Yes,
Did you see Brad and or Candace again that day?
I don't know if it was that day or the next day,
Okay.
because I had to talk to the police on that day. I went and picked Brad and Candace up, took them to their trailer, they got their stuff in their car, and they left.
They just left?
Well, they were going either to his aunt's house.
No, did you go with them?
No, I did not go with them.
Did you ever see them physically again?
Not until they were brought back.
Okay, so what day did you see Candace and or Brad again after January 2nd of 2018?
I saw Candace again when they were brought back from
I'm
Georgia.
going to object to, I don't believe that's relevant at this point. That wasn't the question. The question was, when did you see them, not the circumstances under which.
Sustain, rephrase, strike it.
I saw Candace on January 19th, a Friday.
So, for some 2 weeks, you did, after the death of your grandchild, you did not see your daughter Candace or Brad Fields, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. Did you talk to your daughter?
Yes, I did.
Without telling us what she said, as a result of that those conversations, did you have any idea where she was?
I was never told. Never mind, I can't say that.
Okay. Did you know where she was at that time?
No.
I have nothing else.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Throughout this, we're going to be referring to your granddaughter. Is it okay if I refer to her as Gabby for the purposes of the question?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, you had discussed the fact that Gabby had stayed with you throughout much of her early life, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was until, although she may have left off and on to stay with other people, that was until September of 2017, correct?
Yes.
And that's when she moved into the trailer with Brad Fields and Candace, correct?
Yes.
And Candace Diaz is your daughter, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Brad Fields isn't her Gabby's father at all, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And after Gabby had moved away from your house, moved into the trailer with Brad and Candace, you still had occasion to have contact with her correct?
Yes,
Okay, so holidays, different times you had contact with her, right?
yes,
Spoke with her on the phone,
all the time.
all right, had overnights, weekly visits, things like that, correct?
Yes,
Periods where she stayed a week or two with you, right?
yes,
Okay, so you had quite a bit of contact with her, correct?
yes,
Okay, so you were familiar with her and her life enough to know what was going on with her life physically, her mental health, her happiness, etc., right?
yes,
Okay. Now, you had stated something I wanted to ask you about. You talked about, you talked about a concern that you had that maybe Gabby was autistic, correct?
yes,
Okay. And that was something that you saw something on television and it raised concerns because of behavior you had seen, correct?
yes,
But you brought that up to a medical doctor, correct?
yes,
And this was before Gabby lived in the trailer with Brad Fields and Candace Diaz, correct?
yes,
Okay. And when you described the autism, or the suspected autism, you also described what you called fits. Is that right?
yes,
And those fits, you described them as there were times where she would hit you. Is that right?
yes,
There were times that she would kick you. Is that correct?
yes,
There were times that she would bite you, right?
yes,
And you stated that these activities, these behaviors just came out of nowhere, basically, correct?
yes,
And you were describing the behaviors toward you, right?
yes,
Did you see those behaviors toward other people?
yes.
Did you see those behaviors, say, toward Candace Diaz?
No, I did not see it.
Okay. And that's all I want to know is what you saw. So let me rephrase the original question. Did you see those behaviors by Gabby toward other people other than yourself?
Yes,
Okay. Did you observe those behaviors toward Bradfield?
no,
Okay. But there were other people, correct?
yes,
Okay. And during the time that that Gabby would stay with you there in 2017, in the fall and winter, you were living in your car at that time, correct?
yes,
Okay. So there was also a period of time where you lived, or that may not be the correct word, you stayed in the backyard of someone by the name of Barrett. Is that correct?
yes, sir,
And at that time, when you were staying in this backyard, Gabby also stayed at that home. Is that correct?
yes,
She stayed inside though, right?
yes,
But you were outside, you were both at the same home, correct?
yes,
Okay. And you stated, well, let me ask you this. With the contact that you had with Gabby, did you have a normal granddaughter-grandmother relationship with Gabby?
yes, she was my best friend.
Okay, okay. And, again, 1 second, I apologize. Did Candace, well, you had contact with Candace fairly often because that's your daughter, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And oftentimes, you just probably discussed issues that maybe were going on with Gabby, correct?
yes,
Out of concern by both you and Candace, correct?
yes,
And during
Let me ask you a
those,
question. Was that your first grandchild, or did you have an older grandchild?
no, maybe that was the first one.
She was the oldest.
in a second.
Excuse me, do you?
That's okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, could you?
You let me know when you're ready to proceed.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
No problem. Now, Thanksgiving of 2017, you stated that Gabby stayed a week with you. Is that correct?
Yes,
And at that time, you were still staying in your car, correct?
Yes. But while she was with me,
Well, I
we
haven't
were in
asked
the
the
hotel.
question, so when I ask the questions, I'll give you a chance to answer them, okay?
And then Madam Prosecutor have an opportunity to ask you some more questions.
Correct. Thank you, Your Honor. Now, is it fair to say that Gabby, as a 4-year-old, a normal 4-year-old, was sometimes prone to accidents?
What
Yes.
type of accident?
I'll get into that. Accidents such as trips, falls, fall off a bike, things like that.
Yes.
Okay, so that was something that happened because that happens with children, correct?
Yes.
Okay, did you ever have opportunity to witness any of those types of accidents?
Yes.
Did you ever have opportunity to, say, treat any injuries caused by those
Your
accidents?
Honor, there's no foundation, no relevance.
Overruled, all out.
Thank you. Did you ever have any opportunity to treat those types of
Yes.
scrapes? Okay, thank you very much. And you had stated that, first of all, you stated that Gabby was potty trained, correct?
Yes.
But that up until even 4 years old, she did have accidents, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you experienced those yourself, you knew that happened. Is
Yes.
that right? Okay. You were asked a question about before Gabby moved away from your home and moved in with Candace and Brad. You were asked a question about the state of her health and her teeth, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you have concerns before she moved in with Brad and Candace with the state of her teeth?
No.
No? Okay. And what about, you stated that she had lice, correct?
Yes.
And that was, I believe you stated in June of 2017, the first time you noticed it, correct?
Yes.
And that's when she was staying with you,
Yes.
right? Okay. And then you did notice, you thought it was cured and it came back, correct?
Yes.
But the original problem was when, in June, when she was staying with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I asked you just a second ago if you had concerns about the state of Gabby's teeth while she was staying with you, and you said no, you did not. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry, Your Honor, if I get one second.
Take your time.
Okay. You recall testifying at a preliminary examination back in, I believe it was May 10th in Romulus District Court. You recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And you testified that day, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm referring to page 42. Starting at line, it looks like the way it's lined up, line 15. On that day, you were asked a question. Question. Okay. And one of the other health issues that was brought up when you were being questioned was Gabby's teeth, correct?
Yes.
And you said, your answer was yes. Question. Okay. And you stated that the teeth and the problem that had been noticed with the teeth is something that had been present pretty early on in her life, correct? Your answer was, that's correct. Question, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said early age, but I thought you narrowed it down a little bit to about 18 months. And the answer was yes. Correct?
Yes.
Do you recall giving that testimony?
Yes.
Okay, so you did in the past have, before Gabby moved with Candace, you did have some concern about the state of her teeth, correct?
Yes, Candace had talked to a doctor and said it was,
Well, I don't know what Candace and the doctor talked about. I'm just wanting to know what you know.
I'm sorry.
Is it correct to say that you did have concerns with the state of her teeth before she moved in with Candace?
Yes,
Okay. On the day, on New Year's Day, Candace called you, right?
yes,
And that was sometime early in the morning, about 10-ish.
between 9:30 and 10.
Fair enough. And Candace called you, and Candace was upset when she called you, right?
Yes,
You can tell by the tone of her voice, maybe?
she was crying.
Okay, she was crying. Was she speaking quickly?
Sometimes it's hard to hear her. She's got a soft voice, but yes,
Does she have, she has a soft voice. Does she have some sort of a speech impediment? Is that fair?
yes,
Okay. And sometimes when she's upset, you may have difficulty understanding her, correct?
yes,
Okay. So at that time, the conversation you were having with her was, would you say it's fair to say that you were having some trouble understanding what she was trying to convey to you? Is that correct?
the thing that I got out of it was Gabby wasn't responding.
Fair enough. When you arrived at the location, you stated Candace met with you at the front door, correct?
Yes,
Took you to the bathroom, right?
yes,
At the bathroom, that is where Gabby is on the floor, correct?
yes,
And Brad Fields is administering CPR, correct?
yes.
Doing the compressions, is that correct?
That's what it appeared to look like.
Okay, okay. And at that point, your focus as you enter the bathroom is on the situation with Gabby on the floor, correct?
Yes,
Okay, because you were asked a lot of questions about the surroundings of the bathroom. But is it fair to say that your focus that day, at that time, was seeing Gabby on the floor?
yes,
Okay. And at that time, CPR was being administered, correct?
yes,
Okay.
Let's stop and take a stretch break. You up to your number 11?
Yeah,
You sure?
yeah.
Let's just stand up and move around a little bit. After this witness, we're gonna take a little break, okay? All right? All right, be seated.
Yeah, procedure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. At some point, however, with Mr. Fields, Brad Fields administering the CPR, you took over. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay. And one, you had performed CPR before, so you knew the compression method, correct?
yes,
But you were also instructed by someone on 911 telling you what to do, correct?
yes,
Okay. You were asked, one of the things you were asked was about Gabby's hair. You were asked, was Gabby's hair wet? Correct? You remember being called that just a few minutes ago?
yes,
Okay. And your response to that question was, to my knowledge, it wasn't wet. Correct?
yes.
So, is it fair to say that you don't remember?
The part I saw was not wet. There was not a wet spot on that floor.
Let me rephrase the question. Maybe you didn't understand. You stated that when you were asked, was her hair wet? You said, to my knowledge, no. Correct?
Yes,
Okay. So when you say to my knowledge, you don't know if it was wet, correct?
Yes or no? Was it wet? Yes or no?
no,
Okay.
Thank you. You also have testified previously that that Gabby her body was still warm.
yes,
Correct? So at the time you began to perform CPR, her body was still warm, correct?
Yes,
And also, at that time when you began to administer CPR, you did see vomit, correct?
I had some on me, yes.
Okay, so you saw vomit. And do you recall approximately how long you performed CPR?
However long it took the police to get there, 5-10 minutes after the 911 call, when they stepped in the bathroom, they took over.
Okay, so the police officers immediately took over, correct?
Yes,
Nobody else attempted to jump in and relieve you?
no,
It was the police, okay. And you stated that the police, that they arrived fairly quickly, correct?
yes.
How about additional emergency personnel, EMTs, fire trucks? Do you know when they arrived approximately?
10 to 15 minutes later.
The original officers who arrived, do you recall how many?
2,
Did they do CPR in the bathroom?
they started in the bathroom, yes.
Okay. Did they move the body and complete it somewhere else?
They took her to the living room.
Okay. And ultimately, Gabby was taken to an ambulance, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And the ambulance it was sitting outside the trailer, I'm assuming, correct?
yes,
You and Candace went to the ambulance with Gabby, right?
yes, we were right behind them.
And Candace went to the cab of the ambulance, correct?
Yes,
And she sat there while the ambulance was waiting, correct?
yes.
Do you know how long that ambulance was there?
I couldn't tell you how long.
Okay.
It just seemed like forever.
Okay. If, based on, I'll move on. When you went out to the cab, or I'm sorry, went out to the ambulance with Gabby and with Candace, Brad did not go with you, correct?
That's right.
Where was Zoe at that time, if you know?
She was in the bedroom, asleep.
She was in a
I'm
bedroom in
sorry.
the trailer.
She was in Brad and Candace's bedroom asleep.
Okay, so she was in the trailer. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions, thank you.
Redirect.
Ma'am, you said that the teeth were not a concern to you? Or they were a concern? Which one?
They were a concern, but she had had the problem for so long, and dentists would not look at her until she was 4 years old.
Okay. So what was the concern? What was the concern about her teeth?
They were rotting out the front 2 teeth.
Just the front 2 teeth? Is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Did you ever notice any injuries inside of her mouth?
No,
None?
no, none.
I have nothing else.
Sit down, let's take a 10-minute recess, all rise. Court's in recess.